Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Sync podcast. Today, I'm going to help you understand what the menstrual cycle is. I'm going to explain it in a way that will help you make sense of your own menstrual cycle so you can understand how it not only impacts your internal world, but also the way that you relate to the external environment. So, my goal at the end of this episode is for you to grasp why the menstrual cycle is such an important topic and why it should be at the forefront of the wellness conversation for all women. If you stay till the end of the episode, you will hear about the giveaway that I prepared for you and also how you can enter the contest. Today, I'm going to cover the cycle basics. I call them basics, but don't get too stuck on this word. Basics, yes, what I am about to tell you is quite basic, but the information is so new to the majority of us women that it doesn't seem fair to call them basics. It should actually be the information known by all of us at the time we start menstruating. But it is not your fault that you don't know much about the menstrual cycle. We did not actually get the right education, so it is understandable that we don't know the basic things of our own bodies. First, when I mean cycle, I mean the whole menstrual cycle, the length of time from the start of one period to the start of the next period. And we often refer to our periods as the menstrual cycle. I hear it quite often in the phrases such as, I got my cycle, when in fact, what you mean is that you got your period. By definition, a cycle is a series of events. So a cycle cannot mean the period. The bleed itself, that's just one period of the menstrual cycle. This cycle typically lasts anywhere between 24 to 32 days, but it is often referred to as a 28-day long cycle. Now, each one of us is different, so your definition of normal will be different than mine. So if you have shorter or longer cycles, but you have them around the same length each time, meaning that they are regular, that's your definition of normal. You have a normal cycle. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So when I refer to a cycle, I mean the length of time from one period to the next period. Now, how do you know how many days are in your cycle? So you start counting the days in a new cycle from the first day of your period. So your first day of the cycle will be the first day of your period. And a lot of you have been asking me, what do you count as the first day? So the first day is the day when you experience a significant blood loss. The days of spotting, when we get a few drops of blood in our discharge or we see them in our underwear, those are considered the days of a previous cycle. So those are going to be the days in your luteal phase. So from day 1 until the release of an egg at ovulation is called the follicular phase. And it is called this way because during this time the egg are housed in follicles. And these follicles mature until one dominant follicle will release an egg at ovulation. Then, from ovulation till the start of the next period, you are in the second part of your cycle, which is called the luteal phase. And you can break down the cycle in smaller phases, and we do that across 4 different phases, but we'll get there in a later episode. For now, all I want you to understand are the 2 parts of your cycle, because the way we feel and we act in each of these 2 parts of the cycle is going to be very, very different. Now, when you understand the changes in your physiological needs and your emotions, your behaviors, you are going to understand yourself on a deeper level, and it's going to make a drastic difference in your life. And this comes up over and over again in the conversation that I have with my clients in my group coaching programs or with my online community. So I am sure it will come up for you too. So I want you to have this main point of reference, the 2 main parts of your cycle. So when things come up for you, you now know what to refer to in order to make sense for it. Now, I want to keep things as simple as possible for starters. We're gonna get more deep on the upcoming episodes. Now, because I want to overly simplify the way I'm about to describe each part of the cycle, some things that I say might not entirely resonate with you. You have to understand that just as the length of the cycle is not the same for everyone, the time of the events in the cycle or the intensity that you experience these events with And these hormonal fluctuations can be felt very differently by each person. So if you experience anything different than what I'm about to tell you, that doesn't mean that it's wrong or that something wrong with you. It means that you have a unique experience of the hormones, and that's totally fine. Okay, so let's think for a moment, what is the ultimate goal of the cycle, right? The cycle is preparing the body to get pregnant. So that's the ultimate goal. It's reproduction. Whether you want to get pregnant, whether you don't, that is the role and that's the main goal. All right, with this in mind, let's have a look at how the menstrual cycle and the hormones impact our internal world, but also the external world. Actually, how we are internalizing the external world. So, during the first days of the cycle, hormone levels are very low, which may explain why you feel so low in energy and why you feel like you want to hide from the world. You really want to be alone. Around day 3 or 4 of your cycle, estrogen levels begin to rise. And you can think of estrogen as the hormones that makes you feel outgoing, energetic. It makes you feel ready to conquer the world. Estrogen levels keep increasing during the follicular phase. This is the first part of your cycle, and they're going to peak just before ovulation. The main objective of the first part of the cycle, the follicular phase, is to increase the chances of you getting pregnant. So, estrogen, being the dominant hormone on this phase, is the hormone that is going to make you feel very energetic. So, because it's making you so outgoing and wanting you to be surrounded by people and meet new people, now you have new experiences. So, this hormone is actually increasing the chances of you getting pregnant. It's quite sneaky, right? Now, let's look at how this hormone impacts your behaviors. You might find it difficult to concentrate or complete certain tasks that require focus and attention to details because actually estrogen wants you to be out in the world, it wants you to move, it wants you to meet people and increase the chances of getting pregnant. Your body knows that it is very unlikely for you to find a partner to mate with if you sit behind your desk. In the days just before ovulation, testosterone levels also increase, which will impact your motivation, your energy, and also your sexual desire. And perhaps you're gonna feel more talkative or flirty. You might find it also easier to start a conversation with someone. These are all human mating strategies, if you think about it. These are the behaviors that your body wants you to do to increase the chances of mating during the fertile window when conception is actually possible. Yes, you heard it right. There's only a fertile window, which is about 5 to 6 days, when you can actually get pregnant. You cannot get pregnant on any day of your cycle, but that's a conversation we're gonna have in a later episode. There are the ways in which you can harness the power of this hormone and the behaviors that are triggered by it. Ways in which you can get more of what you want in life. And again, not because you're lacking something, but because you can do more with less effort. You can make your hormones and your cycle work for you. And that's one of the major benefits that you can reap once you learn and once you understand the patterns of your own cycle. And this is going to be a recurring topic on this podcast. For now, let's stick to reproduction. So, after you ovulate, there is a drop in hormone production. Estrogen and testosterone are going to take a nosedive. The levels are going to drop dramatically from one day to another. So, just by knowing this piece of information, you can experience this instant relief. One day, your body is filled with estrogen and high levels of testosterone, which make you feel motivated, energetic, very positive, and very outgoing. And then the next day, you look to the world through a completely different lens because your hormones are very low, and also your brain chemistry is impacted by this. Out of nowhere, you can find yourself doubting the decisions that you took in a previous day. And if you don't understand the cause of this drastic change in the way you view the world, it can affect your mental health a lot. And not everyone will experience this drop off the same way. Some people might be more sensitive to the drop off of hormones. For some of you, it might be more of a subtle transition. In the conversations that I have with the women that I work with, the majority of them feel this drastic change in motivation and in energy, which only makes that internal dialogue louder and more negative. And when you don't understand this shift in hormones, you start to blame yourself for being unmotivated, undisciplined, or, being incapable of sticking to the decisions that you made in a previous day. Understanding why this happens means that you can go easier on yourself. So we are now in the post-ovulation days, right? We've ovulated, we are just starting the next phase, which is the luteal phase. The hormone levels are kind of low initially, but estrogen starts to rise again. It won't rise as high as in the follicular phase because the dominant hormone now during luteal is going to be progesterone. So progesterone, as the name says, is your progestation hormone. This hormone is produced as a result of the ovulation. So if you don't ovulate, there is no progesterone. That's another topic that I want to discuss with you about in a later episode. Nowadays, we focus too much on getting our periods. We always talk about, I didn't get my period is late, all these things about your period, instead of focusing on ovulation. Not many people understand how crucial ovulation is. You can still get your period even if you don't ovulate, but your body will not produce progesterone, so you will not benefit from all these fantastic properties of progesterone. Now, the way you experience progesterone will be drastically different from estrogen. They are so different from one another. So while estrogen makes you very active, outgoing, progesterone is going to do the opposite. It will slow you down. Its main role is to protect your body just in case it got pregnant. Because at this point in time, your body has no idea whether you got pregnant or not. So in case of anything, it wants to protect you. So while estrogen wants you to take more risks, it wants you to socialize more, it wants to increase the chances of you getting pregnant, progesterone will want you to stay more indoors and only hang out with the people that are close to you, with those people that feel safe, that you know. So anyone that gives you that homey feeling. This is also a hormone that is going to make you feel hungrier. And that's because, just in case you got pregnant, you might have an extra mouth to feed. So in this part of the cycle, you might feel more interested in your internal world instead of being so much focused on the external. You don't want to give your energy away, you want to preserve it. So knowing this will help you understand why you feel very social during the first part of your cycle and why you feel like keeping your circle very small during the second part. Now, progesterone has this calming effect on the body and on the nervous system as well. It actually helps you relax and it helps you improve the quality of your sleep. It's really like a natural Xanax for your body. My advice for you is to prioritize sleep when progesterone is peaking, which is now if you have a 28-day cycle, that's going to be around day 21. So around that time, that's about 1 week before your next period, try to prioritize sleep. Just before your next period starts, your hormones are going to start decreasing. And similar to the drop-off in the follicular phase, this point in cycle might leave you depleted and lacking motivation and energy. Understanding all this will change the experience you have with your own cycle and with yourself. Because let's say you are 1-2 days before ovulation and you find it extremely difficult to focus on your work. Now you recognize that this is your body trying to make you get up and get out there and go for a walk to increase the chances of you finding a partner. Or when your energy plummets, you understand that this could be because your hormone levels are low. Knowing this makes a huge difference because now you will no longer beat yourself up that easily for, not wanting to socialize at random moments in the day and in your cycle, or, when you don't have any energy or motivation to focus. Can you see how this very basic understanding of the cycle can be so powerful in the relationship you have with yourself? It helps you build self-compassion, self-acceptance, and self-love, which you're going to see they're going to be recurring themes in this podcast. We are going to go deeper into the intricacies of all hormones and how they impact your physiological needs, the brain chemistry, our emotions, and indirectly our behaviors in a few other episodes. But for now, again, I want to keep it simple when it comes to understanding your menstrual cycle. You need to get a sense of where you are at. Are you in the first part of your cycle or in the second one? Are your hormones high or are they low? Is estrogen the one dominating this phase or is progesterone? So, do you feel your energy up and out or do you feel it down and in? So that's about it for today. As I told you at the very beginning of this episode, I have a surprise for you. 2 lucky winners who are going to subscribe and leave a written review to the show will win a spot in my next group coaching program. You can find more about my program on thesyncway.com/coaching and on my Instagram page. I don't want a 5-star review just because 5 stars look nice, although I really hope you enjoyed these episodes. What I'm looking for is your honest feedback because I want to learn from the feedback you give me and continue to improve the show. I will be announcing the winners in an upcoming episode. I hope you learned something new today, and if you like this episode, please share it with another woman in your life who can benefit from these conversations. I see you next week.